Noisecast.
Noisecast in episode 33. In this episode we have the second part of the Rita interview. Here we continue the discussion with Sam about the recent tour cancellations, the more harsh visual side of noise music, ballet, and its many forms, some very nice ice hockey talk, tales about skateboarding, barrier cult, and of course, some talk about war metal. Again, continuing the topic of live gigs, at least recently in UK, you were supposed to play, but for some reason with the Aunt Jagleague got her part scrapped out from the bill, so you also pulled away from the gig.
Yeah.
How do you, personally I do highly appreciate this kind of camaraderie.
Yeah, so that was a tour that I was doing with Prison, and he was organizing the whole tour, and I've always been a massive fan of Gaia, of Anti-Child League, and I was just like, so I said, hey, so I reached out to Gaia, and I said, would you be interested in be one of the acts for this tour, my first tour? Like, I played in England, but my first tour of England, right? And then she's like, and she was just like over the moon, like, oh my god, like, I've been canceled for so fucking long, and I just can't play any fucking shows. Like, this means so much. Like, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm super down. So she booked all of her own train tickets, like just everything. And then I got the emails from the organizer, and then he was like, oh, Sam, like everyone's been threatening to fucking we can't. Oh, it's come to my attention that Gaia has a very like controversial past, and so we can't have her on the tour with us. And then of course I'm just like, a lot of this is going to be the first time anybody's heard a lot of this, whatever. But anyway, so I was just like, well, like, what types of fucking things? Because I want to know.
Yeah, of course.
Like, you just can't drop
what
this
are the
on me,
accusations?
right? And it's just kind of like, but it was just the obvious stuff, like, oh, she used to put on shows for so and so, and Bud's around with whatever, but it was all the way down to, like, she used to do shows with Sutcliffe Jugend and Conda, and I was just kind of like, now we're getting fucking weird, like, and Whitehouse, hangs, and I'm just kind of like, so what's happening here? Are you guys, is like this new generation, like, literally taking on the UK noise scene? Like that's a fucking pretty bold thing to do, So then the organizer went, okay, well, like, just thought that I'd be like, fine, like, okay, so I told Gaia, and Gaia's just like totally upset, but she's like I want him to fucking pay me back for every train, every hotel I booked, like everything. And then so he did, which was good. But then he came back, okay, so now that we're touring without Gaia, we're doing this, and I'm just like, no, I'm not comfortable with it anymore. I just don't want to fucking do it at all, So then he's like, oh shit, so he just canceled the whole fucking thing. But I don't think I don't know, like, I don't think he realized that I'd just be like, no, it's over, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So then I was playing a big show with Black Leather Jesus and a bunch of those guys in Italy, like, not that soon after. And then I talked to Old Europa Cafe, and we just said, let's just get fucking Gaia. Let's pay to get a guy to fly down and fucking open for us, to, like, make up for that bullshit, right? And then And then she was like all about it. So she opened for us in Pordenone, right?
That's awesome.
For the last, it was like 2 of the festivals again, like the Congressos. But funny part of that was was that Gaia arrives, we're all stoked. I'm watching her sound check. I'm fanning out because I'm just like, holy shit! Like I get to see Auntie Child League. Holy fuck! Like finally get to hang out with her after we've done like a collaboration tape and everything, right? And then she plays live and instantly does like a Seek Hail thing, and then I just started like I was just like, oh my god, this is like an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm. We're like all of that, and then it turns out it is, but this is in my head as a joke, but then it turned out it was just her doing like an anti.
It was part of the.
It was part of like it was like this, and then it was like a communist thing, and then a religious thing, and just all of this is bullshit. Like just so it was like a statement about every giant movement, but it was just funny. The timing was just like, oh no, like what did I do? Anyways, but that was funny. Yeah.
Yeah, she had the same choreography when she played here last year, or was it year before that? That was a really amazing show.
Yeah.
She's a lovely woman.
Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, but again, it was just part of her like lyrics, like this and this and this and this. Yep. They're all bullshit. Like I think that was how it went or whatever. But it was just the timing was.
And continuing on the kind of same topic, same kind of thing happened with Vomir recently.
Yeah.
Another interesting incident of kind of misunderstandings, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, so I was supposed to play that, what the festival's called, like Negative Output. So anyway, I was supposed to play that, and the lineup was pretty wild. It was like, like Black Leather Jesus, me, Vomir, like whoever, and then and then out of nowhere, I think I got an email from Richard saying like, did you hear about Vomir? Like this is fucking bullshit. Like I'm angry. Like this is fucking weird. And then I'm just like, what? Like what the fuck's happening? And then I think I heard. I can't remember how it went, but I think I heard from Romaine about whatever. And then I got like a really detailed email from the organizers saying like, it's come to our same fucking thing as Gaia. Like some mysterious informants in England was come to our attention that Vomir has a very controversial album art or whatever that came with one of those like cave tapes or whatever the fuck. And then I'm just kind of like, what? But the whole time I'm thinking like, I remember those fucking tapes. Like that's just his like doll tape. Like what?
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like okay, like yeah, we know this. It's one of those fucked things where it's like yeah, like we know this. Like okay, and what and then but there was this thread and this and that, and then it went like again, no one's fucking heard any of this shit. They're just kind of like yeah, it's so we totally understand if you don't want to be a part of it or whatever, right? And then so I'm just kind of like, I'm talking to like I'm talking to Francesca, I'm talking to like Richard, I'm talking to like Romaine obviously, and then I'm talking to Romaine a bunch, and I'm just like, dude, like what the fuck is going on? Is there like a bunch of? But the funniest part of that whole thing was, in the midst of all of it, because I'm just kind of like, I just told him, I don't think I'm gonna play then. Like, that's fucking, I can't see you get canceled. Because to all of us, it was a giant fucking deal. Like, it was crazy, right? Because he was like one of the headliners. And then we're like, I can't just play this fest now. It just feels weird.
Yeah.
Can
understand that.
You know what I mean? Like, okay, and that's and all of us are just going to be kind of like looking at each other like the most harmless guy in Harsh Noise, whatever, and then So then I just told them, I said, yeah. So I wrote them an email back that was just basically like really breaking down. Like, of course, I had to be like, because it was material that can stress people out. Like underage, ridiculous sex doll. I don't know, like whatever, right? It was like, and then so then I'm just kind of like told them about the Gaia thing, like reminded them of that, and then reminded them that any of the material that Romain is getting in trouble for is nothing that hasn't been displayed way more gnarly and brutal in the history of
in the past 40 years.
Yeah, like fucking like any power electron, whatever. Like we don't have to list them, but you know what I mean? It's like whatever. And then like even skin crime, like
Yep.
Like, but anyways, like even harmless people were doing like super gnarly shit, and then, but it was all like brutal statements or whatever. So I just said, so I wrote them this big letter, and then I just told them I can't do it, right? And then they wrote back, and I don't know if they were like, and they're just kind of like. Kind of understood, but just like I don't think you understand how harsh the material was, and all this kind of shit. I'm like, what are you trying to make me feel fucking guilty? Like, and now I'm thinking like did I just fuck myself? Like what? So then the funniest part about that whole story was then that's when I messaged Romain and went, dude, is there anything in these fucking pictures that I'm forgetting about? With you dressed as a monster with some fucked up like Raggedy Ann dolls and shit, you know what I mean? Like I can't even remember. But the most fucked thing is you can see the album art on Discogs. And we all know Discogs bans the shit out of everything, but they didn't ban that, right? And then Vomir's like, again, I don't know, this is all fucking hearsay, but it's like he's like, I think I know who's canceling me. It's this fucking asshole who's been jealous of me for years, whatever. And
right.
And it was, but again, I can't. But again, it might be just. But he didn't even know really, and we're just all. But he didn't really give a fuck either, which was kind of badass. But he did really, really fucking appreciate that I stood up for him. I'm just saying because same thing. I'm not like trying to be a hero. I was just like, this is just fucking weird. Like I don't want to do that. It'd be like the touring. If I did the tour without Gaia, I'd just be like, oh, sorry, guys. Like, what I do is like Disneyland enough that it's all good, and then, so anyway, so then I had it, and then a bunch of people were like getting like close friends, because not a lot of people knew. They were getting back to me and saying like, oh man, like, this festival's gonna crumble, like that's two like major headliner, it's gone or whatever, and then I'm just like, oh, yeah, I don't fucking know, like whatever, right? And then but everybody stayed on.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna name names, but there were a list of people that were like, well, if you guys all cancel, then we're fucking canceling.
Yeah. And I think it's.
But again, I understand. I'm like, no, like if you're getting put up and you're getting a free flight to Europe and to England and you're doing other shit, like just fucking do it, whatever. It's better, and in a lot of ways it is better you're playing for people, especially a super badass crowd, whatever, because I saw the festival looked like it went well,
Yeah.
But
same.
I don't think a lot of people. Because every time there was all the announcements, like, oh, this has been canceled, but now these people are playing, and now these people are canceled, and these people are playing, but there was no, everyone in those comments was like, what's happened, like, why? And they're like, oh, if you have any questions, you can email us, and I'm just kind of like, no, like, tell them, like, what's up,
front, yeah.
Anyways.
But I think nowadays it's, I don't know if it's the new crowd or new times or something like that, but it's like this classic power electronics and noise covers and like the whole image side of it, it's maybe a little bit too brutal for them or something like
but
that.
But that's the thing. It's like,
It's weird.
But again, to keep like hammering, the facts down. I mean, I was talking to Romaine, and I'm like, dude, anything you did, like, no matter how fucking like weird it was, like sketchy it was. If you want to look at it, anyone listening can look it up on Discogs. I can't even remember the name of the fucking album. Is nothing compared to like Bruno Dumont's opening scene on Humanité, or Solo, or like or anything like that. So I'm just kind of like, or Fat Girl, or Catherine Breillat's movie, like. So I'm just kind of like. So get the fuck over it.
Yeah, and like old 80s power electronics albums with severed human heads and stuff like that.
But I mean, or like crime scene photos with dead kids and shit, whatever, right? But it's kind of like, I'm not going to be holier than thou edgelord dude and be like, no, fucking do what we want, man. But it's just, but again, I think the most fucked thing about the whole thing after all that experiences was both, every time something like this has gone down, it's a very vocal minority, and no one knows who they are.
Yeah.
No one's allowed to know who they are. And I'm just kind of like, well, one, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Like, England, great. But it's like, but what's funny is that out of all this fucking came me being in Finland for Harshways. So it's almost like and now I'm doing a lot of like these new, like a lot of illustrations and drawings and everything that are really pushing things that I wanted to show for a long fucking time. But for me, it's all natural, But I saw Harshways as a perfect place to finally really go for it, So anyway, ironically, it's like, all this ends up.
I have this theory that I was thinking about yesterday, was that it could be like post-COVID, that like all venues and gig places are like hanging on a thin thread because there's like less customers than before and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it takes very little to like get them worried or something.
But I think it's also, it's like, people they don't want, because I mean, I don't want to really get into it, but the harshest part of the Vomir thing was that it didn't stop there for him. His other UK show got cancelled.
Oh, that's funny.
Like Industrial Coast got cancelled. And then some other fucking a couple of things in Italy got cancelled. And then Francesca got cancelled in Italy. So but again, it's like every time we're like, who the fuck is doing this? And they're like, it's always this crazy vocal minority, be it like Italy, or like England, you know what I mean? And then, but it gets to the point where it's like, it's such a minority that we all know they're just going to be into fucking techno eventually anyways, so it doesn't really fucking matter, but but again, it's just so weird. But I don't want to be that guy that's like, man, if they were in the 90s, they wouldn't have known what to fucking do, bro. And it's just like, no, it's not, it's just, they just don't know.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about ballet. Today, when I was on the train coming to Turku, I watched the mini documentary that was made of you. I think your brother did.
Oh, the Heights Worship documentary.
Yeah.
That was Nicholas Winding Refn's idea to like have that documentary made.
Oh, really?
Because I was doing a track for him for his website. There was a remix. When I'm like working on a track during the documentary, that's for his like website.
Oh, really?
And then I guess Kayla Janice was working with him really closely on the project, and then she was like explaining to him my whole deal, and then he was like, I think I still have the email. He's like, what the fuck is his deal? Like, I want a thing about him, So then
Awesome.
so then I talked to my brother, who's like an award-winning documentarian, and he was like, yeah, it'd be fucking awesome. Let's make a fucking documentary. And I'm like, hey, cool.
It was very well made, and he had like a very interesting shots, especially the art gallery where you were setting
Oh, that
up
crazy
the-
gallery with the yachts in the background and shit.
It was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
it was such an odd thing to see the whole white room, and then there was the other shot where you could see outside, and there was like boats and.
Oh no, yeah, no, that's just this crazy fucking art gallery. It's in Vancouver called the Paragon, and Josh Rose and a bunch of other and Josh Rose and his brother, or just his brother actually. They ran these experimental music things at this Paragon gallery. Like they're like events. Like I think it was like a monthly event or whatever. And it was falling in the time my brother was. Film, like they asked me to play, and the timing fell right in with my brother making the thing, so he filmed it all, right? So anyways,
right. During that documentary, and I've been discussing this, your can you call it obsession with ballet, maybe?
yeah.
But there was a time when you were like making almost statements like that ballet is everything you need in life.
Yeah.
And like kind of your musical output was also like highly focused around that object, but now I guess in recent times there has been like other topics as well, kind of shifting a little bit away from the ballet.
Yeah, but it's like what I just talked about with Wall Noise though. It's like getting into the classical ballet was such a fucking crazy revelation for me that it made me completely reassess everything else I'm into. So, and look at it differently. You know what I mean? So all the way down to like the ballerina injuries and the tights and their gear and the training and the bunion injuries and just everything, right? So anyway, but then of course I'm just kind of like, okay, there's all this like peak obsession with all these things, because ballet is basically just for me, it was just such a revelation that it's like an all-in-one deal where it's like everything I've ever fucking been into is the classical and neoclassical ballet, right? So now I'm just kind of like, okay, so now this is my new base, right? So now it's going to be like, there's lots of Shakespearean ballets, so I'm going to start, and now I'm getting really, really, really fucking into all of the women that are all in the Shakespearean plays and how those relate back to the ballets, and how I can use the movements in this ballet and the torn fucking like transition or convertible tights and everything, and translate that into like how I'm breaking down like a like women acting in Shakespeare. So it's like women and then of course, but then I keep doubling back to other things, like, okay, well, I've got this massive fucking collection at home of shark attack photographs on women, and a lot of them are like bitten feet and bitten legs and and all of their fucking injuries are they're exactly the same as looking at like like classical ballet bunion operations, or like just their broken feet or their cut feet or and then like torn strings and everything, right? So I'm just like, oh fuck, like now I'm gonna bring the sharks back in, you know? So it's like,
right. I get it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then, but again, it sounds like it's, to a lot of people or some people, it sounds like I'm just doing this to frame just any old fucking noise I can put out, you know what I mean? But I always make sure that all of the fucking sound and all of these obsessions are feeding directly what ends up happening with the sound. So even if you can't, because I'm a big champion of like, even if you can't tell what the fuck developed this sound, subconsciously, you know, there's something there that's creating that dynamic. Like the first times I worked with, like all the times I've worked with like dancers, and I'll rig them up with microphones or whatever, and then have them, you know, move, and then by the end it just sounds like Thousands of Dead Gods or whatever, right? So then it's, but then but again, I'm just like, yeah, but it's not, because it's every time they move, it's creating the fucking sound. So subconsciously, all of these fucking ideas and obsessions or everything are just completely are driving the sound. You know what I mean? All the way down to their injuries and everything. So
Yeah, I don't know basically anything about ballet, but recently I saw some art pictures online about those like leg injuries and especially the feet injuries. It's such a brutal contrast to when you think about ballet, you think about like slender women and like beauty and all that, and then like underneath their shoes,
yeah, they always
are like completely torn.
It's funny because from all the women that I've been able to work with, and you know, now I'm just like, you know, I'm just an old school fan of all these dancers. They all have these crazy muscular like yeah, you're right, like they're now I'm just, I mean, I used to be more of a fan of like really sleek like feet in nylon and all that kind of stuff, but now I'm just like any foot that's completely like has all the angles and all the different muscle and all the strength and everything, you know, it's all there, right? But yeah, but you're right, it's like a lot of, I mean, it also goes by, not to go too deep, but it also goes by country. So like when you see Russian dancers, they're very much still the stereotypical, like, if your body isn't like this, you're not allowed to do the, you know, whatever, right? So if you see like Marinsky or Bolshoi or whatever, it's like, oh, these are very, but that's the other thing. It's like the weird goddess thing where it's like these women aren't real, like, but they exist on this earth, you know. But they're like literally, like angels. This sounds so dumb, like angels. You know what I mean? Like, so like they're physically proficient in that, like a robot, like a machine. Yeah. So they're like, you know. Anyways, but then you go to the Paris Opera Ballet, and then you see more of the dancers that like still smoke and like have more muscle and like, you know what I mean, and like, and they, you know, they're way more in like this. It's less stringent on their appearance, and then they can be more open to like other works and everything. And the Royal Ballet in England is exactly the same as well. So a lot of these dancers will be working on like almost up to like 5 works at a time. So they'll be doing like a really high concept experimental dance, they'll be doing classical ballet, whatever, and then so a lot of those women like Ozapova and a lot of these women, like they're very much, they look like Olympic gymnasts, like really muscular,
yeah, they must
built, and just kind of like, and I'm imagining like someone like a woman that judges the bodies of the Bolshoi in the old school way, just being like, oh no, like we can't have this. But then and then in America, it's almost like a lot of the dancers are jocks, you know. So a lot of them are like corn-fed, midway, you know, like. But that, I mean, that was the biggest thing about the more that I got deep into it, and the more that I was like working with dancers and everything, is that you forget, you're like, oh yeah, these are jocks, like they're very fucking normal, you know. So it got more and more rare to find,
so they are
a dancer that like I'll explain to them what I want to do, and they're basically just like, why? You know.
So you would like expect him to be very like artsy, refined.
Yeah, but luckily there was a, you know, women I've worked with that are like were directly in, you know, I met them at Vancouver noise shows, you know, or friends told me like, oh no, this one, she used to do ballet, like can still do it. And I'm like, oh perfect, you know.
More
so they're
drawn to art.
Yeah, and even then on top of that, it's like I'll have to be very clear. It's like I'm not going to pretend this isn't a fetishistic thing, you know, like it's to a lot of people this is a fetish driven thing, but I don't know, for me it's almost like I've gone out of the bounds of even that. I'm just like, for me it's like pure aesthetic, like no, it looks like this, you know, like this injury looks like this injury and these angles, and like there's a vagina there, but that's just part of it, you know, like what, I don't know.
Do you often, or do you attend any like ballet concerts?
Oh yeah, I go to lots.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm always like pay a little extra and go front row and everything. Yeah. I've got lots of autographs. I donate a lot, so my names are always in the. It's pretty funny. The Rita is like in the thank yous.
Like a donation list.
The donation list, yeah. Now, yeah, I've been to like Paris Opera Ballet. I've been to like lots of like.
What goes through your mind when you are watching a ballet?
I'm such a like a fucking fan now that, and you know, and I own like hundreds and hundreds of Blu-rays, and like I even have bootlegs. I found out you can get ballet bootlegs, which is fucking sick. And the coolest fucking thing ever that I got into when I was watching a lot of live ballet is that for a long time the Royal Ballet and the Bolshoi Ballet were doing live satellite shows at movie theaters. So I got to go to the movie theater, and then you watch like this live 3-hour ballet with all the mistakes, and then during the breaks they'd interview the dancers and and then, anyways, so I was totally all in on that too. But I think after watching so much of it, at the start I think the first ballet I ever saw was Giselle. And I remember being like, oh shit, it's happening. Like there's 20, there's like point shoes like literally 5 feet away from me, and like all the and then by the end of the shows, especially if there's no orchestra, you can smell the sweat. Like it smells like a gym by the end, so you're just kind of like, whoa, this is like everything about this is completely overwhelming. But now it's more like I don't know if it sucks, but it's like, it's funny that they left that variation out. That's obviously Vancouver didn't want to do that. And then whoever I'm with at the ballet is just, I'll just be like, oh fuck, like they left that part out. They added this part. Like, what? Like, that was, oh my god, I can't believe they did that. They totally went for it, and like, but anyways, yeah. So it's turned into that.
So it's kind of gone from this to this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyways, no, it's been good.
That is very interesting, and I would say a peculiar interest. But
it's peculiar. It's peculiar, but the more you get into it, the more you go to the big shows. It's not. It's because now I'm really, really, really into opera as well. Which again, if you told me that 30 years ago, I'd be like, what are you fucking talking about? But it's kind of like the same thing.
It's always, I find it highly appreciated that people are enjoying like classical arts still, even though they might not be that like hip anymore nowadays or something.
The weirdest thing about it though that I never expected is that I'm so fucking deep into classical ballet and neoclassical, which would be like 50s and 60s works, that for some fucked reason I don't like highly conceptual like improvisational like I like it, I appreciate it, I love it, because there's nothing, if you really break it down, there's nothing more like a body moving is basically just kind of like where art starts. You know what I mean? Because and then after that maybe drawing or something. But it's like, but you just doing shit in a lot of ways is like the ground zero of art, right? So and anyways, but for some reason I've got myself so locked into all of my own fucked up notions about classical ballet and all of the like nuances of it and the way that it translates into my ideas that I like it a lot more than a lot of like because a lot of people are like friends of mine that are just like, oh yeah, I'm in this new choreography by blah 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 and whatever, and then I'm just like, oh yeah, great, and then I'll watch it and I'm like, but it's not translating into Rita ideas,
I watched the couple of years old White Centipede Noise interview, and what stuck with me most about that interview was you wearing a Boston Bruins cap in Vancouver. Is that some sort of a statement?
No, but I grew up. I'm like a lot of people know I'm basically a jock growing up. So I played hockey until I was like a teenager, and I played soccer till I was an adult. I even tried out for like Team Canada and everything. But
wow.
And anyways, so then, but I've always been just a massive fucking fan of certain goalies. Like hockey goalies. So then like my favorite Bruins goalies are like, I mean there's like Cheevers or whatever, but I'm like a huge fan of Gilbert.
Okay.
He had all the stars on his mask or whatever. And then for the Blues, I'm a massive fan of Ed Stanowski and Mike Liut.
Okay.
And I collect like there's certain guys that make really, really beautiful to spec reissues of their masks. So I have all the masks like at my house or whatever.
Oh, okay.
I don't have a lot of them because it's a fucking expensive hobby, but
but
the goalies I really love, I like have their masks. But yeah, so when I wear a Bruins hat, it's literally just because of that.
Do you get a lot of shit from that?
Yeah, I do. What's fucked is that well, yeah, because I don't know. You remember when the Bruins beat Vancouver for the cup? Yeah, there was that fucking riot, right? Which is so sick because the Bruins were probably flying home, like literally watching the city burn from the airplane, which is insane. But anyways, we're like, so I remember like examples were like I remember once I was walking down the street and I was wearing a Blues jacket, a St. Louis Blues jacket with a Bruins hat, and some woman that works for the for the post office just like out of nowhere stuck her head out the side of the truck and went, "Hey you, are you a fucking retard?" And then I was just like, "What?" And then she's like, "What kind of a fucking idiot? Where's it?" And just went off on me. And then I'm just kind of like in my head, I'm like, man, like you could like get someone fired for so much less than that. But like when it comes to hockey, it's like, it's no holds barred. Like it's like all rules are off, right? And I mean, I remember I was at like and then the other team I like a lot just because of mass are the Red Wings. I've got the hat like right there, like on my bag. Anyways, because Gil Gilbert played for the Red Wings afterwards, and like so then and a couple of other goalies, my brain just turned off, so I can't remember them. But I was wearing a Red Wings hat, and at some bookstore, this woman walked up to me, one of the employees, and went, "Why the fuck would anyone in this world wear a fucking Red Wings hat?" And then I just went, "Oh, come on, it's the Red Wings, they're harmless." And she went, "Yeah, you're right." And then I'm just kind of like, what's happening? Like, this is... So what's fucked is I don't even wear that Bruins hat now, like in public. I remember when I was in New York and I was wearing a Boston Red Sox hat. And a bunch of the Midwest guys were like, "Dude, like you shouldn't fucking wear that." And then I remember I went and visited Gabby Lassanci like right after that. And in Florida, and in Florida it's all like, like homeowners from like all over America. This woman walked by and went like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're wearing a Red Sox hat. Like, thank you. I'm from Boston." And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, anyways, yeah.
But I think, Vancouver citizens have a lot of reasons to hate almost any team in the NHL, I think.
Yeah,
because they've been beaten and beaten and beaten.
I mean, I've never. I mean, when I was a kid, I was a massive Canucks fan, especially when they had like the V jersey, and I was into a lot of the goalies and all that kind of shit too. But I guess I was one of those things where I was so fucking deep in it when I was a kid that I spent the fandom. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because I was like.
Don't have it in
fighting on the ice and everything, right? So it's like, and then got into skateboarding. Skateboarding for anybody just ruins everything, right? So anyway, but then as I got older, I'm like, oh man, like I still fucking love these masks. Like, so I bought all the hockey. The best was on eBay. I'm like, holy shit, every card I would have killed for in grade 5 as a kid, I can get on eBay for like $2. So I remember getting every card, like even the biggest goalies of all time, like you can still get their fucking card for like $2, whatever, right? So I'm just like,
yeah, I remember from my childhood, especially the goalie cards were always
awesome. The ones you wanted, and especially back then because it's all the masks and shit, because when it went to the birdcage thing, maybe my life is just so fucking aesthetically based, I've like fucked myself, but. My interest in hockey waned, even though I wore the birdcage, playing hockey. waned when it started all switching over. You know, I remember even when Phil Esposito put the cage over his existing mask, you know, like, and I'm just kind of like, so maybe, yeah, that was the reason. Because I'm not into any of that shit, you know.
But did those, I mean, what was your experience of those riots of 2011?
I was at, where was I? I think I was at home. So it just came, I think it came, someone called me or it was just on the news or something, but it was the funniest shit ever because it was so localized, right? And it was so rad that it was like because of the hockey game.
Yeah.
And so much of it was so fucked. But a lot of people brought up a good point. They're like, it's the first time that a riot like that has been documented in high def. Because it was like very much like a cell phone generation riot.
Yeah.
So it was so well documented, like that couple making out on the ground. Like, have you seen that picture? It's like there's all these like cop cars burning and like people smashing shit, and then right in the middle of the photo, there's a couple making out lying on the street. And then and then of course, like, we knew half the idiots in the riot. So I remember there's this one, like, there's this famous clip where this flash bomb hits the ground. And this skateboarder gets it right in his nuts, like it bounces out, explodes in his nuts, and then I remember someone's like, "Dude, that's fucking like so and so." I'm like, "What?" Like, yeah, he was fully at the riot. I'm like, "What the fuck?"
That's crazy.
So yeah, more or less, it was just dumb. And then of course, I think it was my brother that was like, "Yeah, how rad is it that the Bruins got to be like beat us and then watch the."
Yeah.
Town burn, like, so harsh.
Skateboarding has also been a big part of your life.
Yeah.
When did that how did you get introduced?
Skateboarding, I was always like a BMXer, and for like, you know, like almost like my whole life. Like I rode like, you know, like my first BMX bike was like the ones with the fake shocks and the fake tank and everything, and then then just got super into BMX, and then slowly the BMX magazines, when skateboarding was getting big again in the early 80s, started to feature more skateboarding in the BMX magazines, and right away I was just kind of like, I was also getting into punk at the same time.
The whole package.
So it was the package, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm looking at these skateboarders, and I'm like, whoa, they're like, you know, like the BMXers are still kind of like jocks compared to like a lot of these brutal punk skateboards. So anyway, I just got into that like heavy. Oh, and then I had a cousin, because I lived in the Okanagan Valley, like on a lake. Which was amazing, but it was 4 hours away from Vancouver, and we had a cousin that lived in Vancouver, and he was neck deep in the skateboarding world in the mid 80s.
Yeah.
And in Vancouver, it was fucking core as shit, right? Like big. And so he was kind of like our gateway too. So when we come into town, it was like, I remember going into town and being like, just got my first wide board, you know, and then our parents let us go out on the town that night. And I remember we rolled into town, and then my cousin was like, "Oh, here comes so and so," and all I saw was this guy with like black Converse, a leather jacket, tight black jeans, and like a Sims like screamer board, like roll up to us and do like a boneless one off a picnic table and then land in front. And I was like, this is fucking on, you know, like, and then we went to an arcade, and then every fucking person playing video games was like standing on their boards. So, and yeah, and they all have like punk vests and shit. And then my brother and I are just like, whoa, like, fuck, like, this is what we want. Yeah, anyway, so that's how it started.
Immediate connection with that culture.
Yeah.
Well, kind of have to think about that. You have been skateboarding like most of your life, so to speak.
Yeah.
And when you think about wall noise, and when you think about standing on a skateboard and like rolling down the street, there's constant like rubble like going on.
Yeah, which
Could
is
that be
weird.
Engraved?
Yeah, it's that's the first time anyone's ever brought that up. So now I'm thinking like, oh shit, like, is that like, like, especially when the small hard wheels were a thing in the early 90s.
Because that's the first thing when I think about like
Yeah,
skateboarding.
but of course I've done like the mic'd railings and the mic'd like coping
Yeah,
and all that
yeah.
kind of shit. But like just like the rolling and the bearing, yeah, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's a fucking glorious point because like 90 fucking percent of what you're experiencing is that fucking like
Yeah, it's the constant noise.
fucking sound. You
Uh-huh.
know? Anyway, that was fucking crazy. Yeah, but of course, you know, like especially recently, I'm more infatuated with like, you know, thinking about the old vert days where it's like the super fucking loud like clacks and like the coolest thing about the indoor vert ramps was just how fucking loud they were, like especially some guy that can like do a head high air to like tail like a body jar or something and it's just like bam, like I still know how to do like a certain few tricks that like my brother gets so pissed at me because I can do like decked rock and rolls in a certain way that are so fucking loud that it like that it just annoys the fuck out of people. My brother is just like, dude, like don't do that. I'm like, yeah, but it's so fun, like especially when someone's totally unsuspecting.
Yeah. What's the worst slam you've ever taken?
My worst one, I hit my head on the back of a handrail once so fucking hard that I was like out for like 2-3 minutes.
Oof.
And then I was like covered in blood. And I remember we were going to a punk show because those were the days, skate all day, punk show.
Yeah.
And I was going to a punk show that night and just left the blood all over my shirt and just went to the show. And then it was one of those nights where it's like, you know, we were all dumb, right? So it's like the only rule when you hit your head that hard was get the stitches, and then make sure you're with somebody that night that keeps you up all night because you might not wake up. So it was always a super rad night to have a girlfriend over, you know, just stay up. Anyways, so that was that. And then, I remember I hit my head again I ollied like a picnic table, and I had so much speed coming out of it that I hit this bronze statue so fucking hard with my head that it got like 8 stitches here, and the blood was like spurting out like this. And other than that, just like broken ribs, I've shattered my collarbone twice.
Ooh, that's a bad one.
And then but BMXing too. I remember once I was at a contest and my practice time was at like 1 a.m. in like this small town. Total party weekend. So the practice times went like until super early. And I remember I fucking slipped out on a foot plant variation on my bike, and all my weight came down on the coping on my shin, and I rolled down the ramp and I stood up, and I'm like, whoa, that was harsh. And then everyone on the ramp pointed and went, oh shit, and I like looked down, and it was almost like a small football sized like opening in my shin, and they had to like get a doctor to meet me at the hospital because it was in this small town. But yeah, that was wild too. But yeah, I don't know. It's like, tons of fucked up. I mean, I'm always injured, still now, right?
Well, it comes with the skateboard culture that you always have.
Yeah, and I've got this super my brother always like gets mad at me for it. I've got this proclivity of just having the worst bails all the time, like still, you know, and I don't know if it's my luck, but it's always it's weirdly invigorating. Like I'll come home after just getting completely fucked up. Like I fucked up my shin recently so bad, it almost didn't heal right. I still have this fucked up bump. I should have just gotten stitches, but I'm like, no, fuck it, I don't need it, whatever. And then I remember even then, like I left blood like all over the skate park, and I'm 53 years old, and that happened like 3 months ago, you know.
Dedication.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like, it's just what you do. You know?
Yeah.
It's at the point where it's like, I don't want to say it's a job, but it's just like, no, it's just what you do.
You are wearing a Barrier Kult t-shirt.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about
the Barrier
Kult?
One of my jobs with Sculpt Skates is I work directly with the primary members of the Barrier Cult. So help them with the graphics, with all with all the decks, like all the merch and everything. But a lot of them are like ex-pros, so they still have some of their older sponsors too for like trucks and shoes and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I can't talk about it too much because all it is the bear call is very much like wall noise. It's kind of like a super weird, disgruntled reaction to like skateboard industry, and then using black war metal as like from what I understand, like a code to keep it militant, and just kind of like look at how black war metal bands especially like treat concepts and rules and all that kind of stuff, especially like blasphemy, a band like Blasphemy, and then translate that into like how the barrier cults run,
It's a very interesting concept when you think about skateboarding culture. It's highly commercialized, and
Oh yeah,
all about,
especially nowadays, way at the Olympics and everything.
yeah.
Skateboarding getting blown out definitely isn't a new thing. Like it always happens in waves, right?
Yeah.
Like anything, like the late '80s, it died and then came back really gnarly, whatever. So, but the barrier cult is definitely. It's a really fucking interesting marketing experiment. Or no, it's beyond marketing. It's like more of a, it's like again the early days of wall noise. Like what will happen if we do an album like Total Slitting of Throats?
Yeah.
Like, and then the barrier call, I don't think they had any idea, or we had no idea, because now I'm there like looking at the accounting and everything, that it would turn into like what it is, like a massive part of whatever. But
there was clearly a demand for it.
Yeah, totally. But it's hilarious how it's like it's gone through a lot of the same phases. Because what I'll do when I'll talk to those guys about doing barrier cult things is I'll always kind of relate it back to the Rita. So a lot of it is kind of like, no, we'll do it this way. In Harsh Noise we do it this way, so we'll do it. Like Joe Romer would do this, so that's what we'll do. Blasphemy would do this, so that's what we'll do. So yeah, and then but it's funny. It's like it's constantly like reining things in but then letting things go. Like I remember one of our biggest things was when the video game Skate 3 asked us to have one of the characters in the game, like Dear Man of Dark Woods, and it was like meetings and just like, should we fucking do it? Like what the fuck, like.
Yeah.
Like is this just completely blowing it? But then we found out that like a colleague of ours from Creature Skateboards, Darren Navrat, was going to be in the game. So we're like, okay, well, fuck it, man. If Navrat's going to be in it, let's fucking do it. Like, fuck it, and plus it's one of those things where it's like, I've talked about it before, but it's kind of like recently Justin Bieber had a billboard where he's wearing a Skull Skate jacket.
Okay.
And it was like the super rare like team only jacket.
Oh.
And it was all this controversy. We were getting phone calls like, "Fuck you guys, you sold out," like all this shit, right? And then one of the guys I worked with was like, because I'm like, "Yeah, dude, let's repost that on Instagram." And he's like, "No, fuck that, like, it sucks." And I'm like, "Yeah, but it's like, it's one of those things where it's like it's so fucking cult and core." And Bieber has nothing to do with us other than the fact that he's a Canadian skateboarder. That conceptually it's almost like, when you really break it down, it'd be a fucking super good thing if like Ariana Grande was wearing a Macro Nympha shirt. You know what I mean? Because it freaks out everybody and pisses off all these super like cult dudes. But at the same time, it's like, it's not like Macro's going to tour with her.
Yeah.
Although, I don't know, Joe would probably be down with that. But it's like, but you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, but it's so, but, oh yeah, but that's, the key thing about it is that people were kind of intimidated by the fact that Skull Skates was actually that big. And they didn't, it's almost like they didn't go, but nothing about it changed.
Yeah.
But it is like, oh fuck, like Skull Skates is that fucking big that Bieber's gonna wear a jacket, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, it's kind of like a flex in a weird way.
Mm.
You know, especially when you're not selling out along with it. You know,
Yeah.
so
It's just a thing that happened.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, I always think of it like that. I mean, these are all things that, you know, other noise colleagues of ours have thought about a lot, especially when they get into other genres and shit, right? But
And as for the last part, your top 3 war metal bands.
my top war metal,
3.
like right now, this hour.
Let's go all time.
Okay, and they have to be war
metal.
or war adjacent. Okay, well, I mean, like fucking, like Mystifier. I'm thinking about the songs that actually drive me put shivers down my you know, on the back of my neck. So I think like Mystifier, Root. Blasphemy is one of those ones where it's like it's like the Incapacitants where it's like it's just there, so you have to pick a third one that's not. So
not up. Yeah.
But I mean, like it's so basic, but like Beharit drawing down the moon too, you know. But again, those
wonderful classic.
But those are like kind of war metal adjacent, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but if there's war metal, I'm
war metal.
Okay, and then the fucking Conqueror, like hands fucking down.
Agreed.
You know, trying not to be too fucking basic. I always have an insane soft spot for Black Witchery.
Good one. Yeah.
Especially that fucking first fucking album. But I'm trying to pick one that's a little more fucking like weird. Sex Trash.
Sex Trash. Huh.
But is that war adjacent?
I think it's more of that. A little more of that, yeah.
Yeah. See now, I'm trying to think. What would be Holocaust? Just pounding fucking war? Fucking, I don't know, Vaughn. There you go.
It's definitely.
Or if you want to be super controversial, the greatest war metal band of all time, Iljarn.
Noisecast.